Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. I apologize for this lighting, man. This is freaking awful. Back with another video, inshallah ta'ala. Reaction to a sister by the name of Maya Al Saeed. And the title of the video is Divorce, My 4 Tips to Helping You Get Through It. So the sister's a divorcee. She's been divorced. She's actually been married subsequently. This is a very old video, 2014. I don't know if she got divorced again, because the video where she says she got married again was 3 years ago, so who knows. Anyway, I wanted to see exactly what she says, to hear from a sister's perspective, and then to break down exactly what she says. And let's see how she goes with this. And the reason why I'm particularly keen to hear what she's saying is because typically when women have been through a divorce, they tend to throw out the victim card. It wasn't my fault, he was a really bad guy. Self-preservation, which is natural. We all have an element of self-preservation about us, but women more so than men. Why? Because women are highly stigmatized with divorce. Men are stigmatized as well, but not as much as women. Women are stigmatized more. Why? Because a woman's inherent value, I have to be careful with the words here before everyone gets upset. A woman's primary, what makes her most desirable to a man is her purity. I'll say it one more time. What makes a woman most desirable to a man is her purity. The more husbands she's had, even though this is in halala, the more impure she feels to a man. She's been ran through by 1, 2, 3, 4 plus husbands. Men don't like that. Yeah, men seek women who have, for the most part, been untouched, or as low intimate partners as possible. So that's why the stigma is so strong, and that's why I want to pay attention. I want to break down exactly what she says. And just for the record, I don't believe all stigmas are bad, by the way. Some stigmas are there for a reason. They should be in place. And I believe that the stigma surrounding divorcees, for men and women alike, and I say this as a 2 times divorcee myself, I believe that the stigma is correct. We should be judgmental. Guys, listen, this whole business of, oh, you shouldn't be so judgmental. We don't have enough time to figure people out. That's the whole point of being judgmental, is that if we can have a set criteria of what to look for and what to avoid, we can reduce the time it takes for us to analyze potential or vet potential prospects. And I say that as a 2 times divorcee myself. 2 times divorcee, I gotta own that shit. That's on me. I have to deal with that. Do you understand? And when you can own it, then you can influence it. You can change the situation for the better. And I'll get to that later on, about the importance of owning the mishaps that have happened in your life. Because if you walk around and trying to make out like it was the other party's fault and you had nothing to do with it and so on, man, you are just one giant red flag walking around. Anyway, let's get into the video.
The label divorcee. I had to accept myself for what I am. And society can be very harsh and cruel when it comes to this label. They label you and they think they know what that label means and how a woman should act when she is divorced, and they have no idea. So before you go and face society, you have to be comfortable with who you are. So I knew I had to do that, and I managed to do that. And the way I did that was, I had to accept that this divorce happened to a relationship that I had. It's not something that's wrong with me. I don't have a disease. I can't give it to anybody. I've heard stories where some people would not speak to you, especially women, because you're divorced and you might affect their relationship.
Okay, I'm going to address this as empathetically as possible, as a man who is responsible for 4 girls. 2 of them are my daughters, 2 of them are my stepdaughters. And then 2 more girls who I'm not responsible for, but I love very dearly, and I have a commitment towards them. So 6 girls in total. When you go through a divorce, yes, it doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with you. Just as if a couple are successfully married over a lifetime, it doesn't necessarily mean they were successful. A lot of happy couples, my apologies, a lot of married couples live miserably. They live miserably. Just so that, society doesn't shun them and so on. And there's a benefit to that, by the way, so long as it's not a toxic environment, because it's better for kids to be raised in a nuclear home. There's a benefit for society stigmatizing divorcees, particularly when there's children. Why? Because it's better for children to be raised in a nuclear home. That's why a lot of couples don't get divorced. Not so much now, but that's how it used to be back in the day. Now, yes, it doesn't necessarily mean there is something wrong with you, but that's the first thing that's going to come to mind when a person hears that you're a divorcee. There must be something wrong with you. There must be something deficient about you. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. And let me give you a pro tip here, particularly for the sisters watching. If you are a divorcee and you want to get married again and you want to brush off this stigma as much as possible, this is how you go about doing it. When you go for marriage and you look to get married again, and maybe the new family or the new potential husband asks you about your previous marriage, the worst thing you can do, although you may be thinking it's the best thing you can do, but it's actually the worst thing you can do is say it was all his fault and he was the oppressor and he was this and he was that and he was the other. Unless it's genuinely true, which is, or if you're watching this right now, sister, just as a blank slate, understand this don't apply to you. You are not that woman. That woman who was like beaten day and night and abused and tortured and shackled. What's the likelihood that that was you? Chances are you had a hand in causing your husband to be as unkind towards you as he was. And he had a hand in bringing out the worst in you as well. Generally speaking, that's the way it goes. If you can own it, and don't take 50% responsibility, don't take 70% responsibility, you turn around and tell the other party that you're looking to marry, this new person, this new family that you're talking to, it was 100% my fault. It was all on me. You know what? I realized that I was I used to do That shows strength of character. When you are able to own the bad things that happen in your life, it shows strength of character. People respect that. And especially as a woman, whereby men are judged, they are judged for divorces, but women are judged much harsher. Why? Because a woman's intrinsic value is inherently tied to the number of intimate partners she has had or she hasn't had. Hence the fascination that men have for chaste virgin women. Even in Jannah, Allah doesn't promise us 2 times divorcee hur al-ain. No, He promises us chaste virgin women. He promises martyrs more chaste virgin women, 72 to be precise. And that's my point, is that men have an obsession with, I'm not going to use the word chastity because you can be 4 times divorcees and still chaste. They have an obsession with purity, untouched. Now, you couple that with the fact that the science is clear on this. The more intimate partners a woman has, the less capable she is of pair bonding with a man. She is less capable of pair bonding. And I've been through this many times in my previous videos. In fact, I might even put something up here right now. That women are less capable of pair bonding, of sticking with a man as they go through more and more divorces or more relationship breakups. It's just the way it is. Just as there's a reputation amongst virgin women to be very sticky to their first lovers. Well, that stickiness is like, think of it as a sticker. The first time you put the sticker on, that's the hardest for it to unstick. The more times you apply that same sticker to a surface, it becomes less and less sticky. Same goes for women. The more divorces they go through or intimate partners they go through, the less sticky they become. And there's nothing you can do to reverse that. Nothing at all. So women's game is to preserve their purity, preferably by being with one single intimate partner over a lifetime. But if that's not possible, then as low as possible, because you're the sticker. The more times you stick yourself to someone, the less sticky you become, the less capable of remaining in that marriage that you become. And I know someone here is going to be saying, oh, but I know so-and-so and she got married the second time and she's been married for 30 years. Exception to the rule. That's an exception to the rule. And the data is clear on this. The more intimate partners a woman goes through, the less her marital happiness is. And the more likely she is to pull the trigger on a marriage, to pull the plug on a marriage, I should say, to get a divorce. It's just the way it is. Women initiate the vast majority of divorces. 70 to 80%, in some states in America, up to 90% of all divorces are initiated by women. The more times you stick yourself to a man, the less sticky you become. Let's carry on.
Idea how that is possible, and how can somebody with a brain think that that is actually possible? But we have people who do, and I I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, moving on from those kind of people.
So what she said was that she doesn't have a disease and you can't pass on the disease, which is true. However, let's say you're going through difficulties as a man or a woman right now. You're going through difficulties in your marriage. The worst person to take marriage advice from is from a divorcee. Why? Because they've gotten a divorce and they feel like they're fine now and they've moved on and everything's okay. So they're more likely to give you advice to leave your partner. So they don't have a disease per se, but their experience may taint their advice to you because it vindicates their position. If they can encourage you to get a divorce, then guess what? Their divorce is further vindicated by you getting a divorce. They're no longer the ugly duckling. Now there's two ugly ducklings. So you have to be careful whom you seek advice from. I talk about marriage all the time. But when you hear me talk about marriage, you must understand I've been through 2 divorces. Granted, I didn't initiate those divorces. Both times and there's nothing to be proud about, but both times my ex-wives initiated the divorce and they sought a khul. They got a khul out, both of them, on both occasions. Nevertheless, you must bear that in mind when taking advice from someone. And I think there is a difference actually, because if you're the one initiating divorce, seeking advice from someone who chronically initiates divorce, that's not a good person to seek advice from when it comes to marriage. If you're trying to seek marriage advice and you're going to someone who has a reputation of initiating divorce, that's the wrong person to go to. You should not be seeking advice from that individual. Only seek advice from individuals you are willing to trade places with.
I needed to accept myself for who I was, and that was when the topic came up of marital status or whatever it was. I had to be comfortable with myself to be able to tell whoever was asking that I was divorced. And it's not something that I would scream at the top of my lungs so everybody knows, of course not. But it's not something that I should be ashamed of either, because it is part of who I am, and it's something that happened in the past, and it does not control my life, or it shouldn't control my life. And I told myself that I wouldn't give a group of people, a society, the power of making me feel bad. I can't let anyone make me feel bad. So it's hard enough sometimes. You're really hard on yourself. I really don't need other people telling me, because you're this, you're that, because you're this, you're that. I know why society takes such a bad look at divorced women, and let's be honest, it's because the reputation of some of the divorced women are not that good, and I'm sorry, but they created that reputation for themselves, and the rest of us shouldn't be judged because of the actions of these certain women. I do not fear anyone. If anyone wanted to...
Okay, that's an interesting point she raised. I'm not too sure what reputation she's referring to exactly, other than that women initiate the majority of divorces, because the common narrative that I hear is that men are all scums. Hashtag kill all men. Men are the ones who are typically blamed as the perpetrators of whatever oppression, unhappiness upon their women, violence even. I don't typically hear about women carrying this reputation, other than the fact that yes, divorcee women are stigmatized for the reasons already mentioned. Nevertheless, I understand what she's saying. I shouldn't give power to society to make me feel bad. I get that. It's like even just hearing her speak, you can hear how delicate. There's a lot of delicacy, not delicacy. It's very delicate how she's speaking. You can hear the fragility. That's the word I'm looking for. You can hear the fragility in her voice, and it reminds me of how the Prophet ﷺ described women, qawarir, fragile vessels. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's not easy, because there are a small segment of women who really did need to get out of their marriages. I don't know whether it's her, but there are a small segment of women who were genuinely oppressed and really needed to get out of their marriages. Problem is, all divorcees want to claim that card. All of them. They all want to claim that card, and that's just not the case.
Something wrong, we can all do something wrong. The one I fear is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the compass in my life and not people. Fourth thing is that what has happened in the past, and it no way reflects the person who I want to be and the person who I could be. I wanted to take this as a new chapter in my life. It has happened, but now I am open to a new opportunity, a new chance for me to do what I want to do, follow the dreams that I've always wanted to try and follow or achieve. This is my chance. I have the pen and I am looking at this blank page, and I can now start to write the words to my story. So those are the things that helped me, and I hope in some way it helps you. Divorce is something tragic that happens to a beautiful relationship. I honor the act of marriage. I cherish that relationship between a husband and a wife. And it's not only sacred to us humans, but it's also sacred to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm sorry if any of you are going through a difficult patch in your marriage. If you are, please don't consider divorce as the first option. I hear some couples, they go through a marital problem and they go, okay, I want a divorce. Why do you instantly go for a divorce? There are so many things you can do, which you should do to work.
Good advice.
To make your marriage work. And divorce is an option, but it should be the last option on this long list of things that you need to do before you reach that option, especially if you have kids.
I'm glad she said that, and I'm glad she made that specific distinction towards children. Look, it's rough, like I said, and I say that as a man who's looking to assist 6 girls get married one day, and I hope none of them go through a divorce. And I hope that my own experience and additional insight and knowledge in relationships can help them choose a partner that they can live with for a lifetime and live there happily ever afters. However, the reality is, especially the more girls I have, the more likely that one of them is going to go through something like this. So I say to you this: if you're a sister who's watching this right now, the best thing you can do is own what happened to you 100%. And I know that's very hard for women to do because they don't like taking responsibility. And I don't care if you don't like that I said that. Women, generally speaking, don't like taking ownership. They're not used to it. They're not used to the burden of taking full, unreserved responsibility. When the truth of the matter is, you almost definitely had a hand in the breakdown of your marriage and in the behavior of your husband towards you. No doubt about it. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, the wife with the long tongue has the shortest marriage. You might not hit your husband physically, but you whip him with your tongue. You whip him with your tongue. Take responsibility. Take ownership. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Whenever brothers come to me and say to me, bro, there's this divorcee, I'm considering marrying her, I say to him, are there any other options? Is there anything else you can consider? Because I don't recommend marrying divorcee women. Their ability to pair bond, the sticker, is diminished each time they go through another divorce. You are the sticker, ladies. Preserve your stickiness by, number one, choosing your partner, vetting him appropriately. And if you don't know how to vet, well, hit me, send me an email. We can have a discussion if you want. If you're looking to get married, send me an email, theredmahdi@gmail.com, and we can book in a consultation. Number two is that once you do get married, always remember, you are the sticker. You are the sticker, and you must preserve your stickiness, because men don't suffer from this problem. We can go with potentially thousands of women. Genghis Khan, every 1 in 200 man has a direct descendant of Genghis Khan. We can go with a literally unlimited number of women and we'll be perfectly fine. Our ability to pair bond is largely unaffected. Largely unaffected. For women, not the case. Preserve your stickiness. Take full ownership of the breakdown, not of your marriage. Not half, not 50, no, full 100%. Whenever anyone asks me about the breakdown of my marriage, I take full ownership, 100%, because it's the truth. If I had conducted myself in a different way, if I was wiser, if I was smarter, if I had more knowledge, I might have been able to deal with my situations differently. That's the truth. Take ownership, you increase the likelihood that you'll be able to get married again. If you found value in this video, hit the like, share it with someone. I'll catch you on the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.